Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. First off, I want to thank you for coming to my channel, for liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, everything that you wonderful folks do. Second off, I want to start out by saying this video, and probably a second part because I don't want it running too long, is in honor of my grandfather. I'm I purchased a knife that I recall him carrying because I don't have his original knife. I was never handed down any knives by my grandfather, and I don't have a father like a lot of people, so I don't even know the man. My grandfather was my male role model in my life, and we don't know what happened to his pocket knives, so I didn't get to receive and cherish his pocket knives. But he left me other items from his journeys through life. He served in the service, and so in doing so, I want to thank every service member, every veteran. I love you guys down to the core of my heart and soul. I truly do. You guys deserve so much recognition. You guys honor us every day, even the vets. Just because you're not actively serving, you served. You gave us these rights to stand on this ground and be able to speak this peace, you know? You guys deserve the world. So, I love you guys. I want to give you guys a shout out, show you some appreciation. My grandfathers, I had two grandfathers. My biological grandfather, who passed away, and then my step grandfather, which is the one that I'm honoring today in this video and in the second part video, because he's the one that made me the man I am today. Without him, I'm sure my grandmother probably would have remarried somebody else, and I would have had a different grandfather. But either way, the grandfather that I wound up with from my childhood is the one who helped sculpt and mold the man that I am today. And in honoring him, I'm doing this video. One, so when I get older and I start losing my mind, and I hope not, because he passed of Alzheimer's. I hope not to lose my mind, but if so, because it happens, I'll have these videos to look back on and have memories of wonderful things that I enjoyed, with this channel, my knives and everything, and you guys. And then I'll have this memory of my grandfather and me telling it to myself, you know. Basically, I'll be watching myself tell this. My grandfather served in Vietnam, and then when he came home, he worked the fields. Um, and in doing so, he joined the Union right away when it first started out with Cesar Chavez. And him and his brothers, all except one, which they lovingly joke about. Uh, no, they're all gone as of last year. Up until last year, they still joked with him that he was a scab because all the field workers who did not join the union, they called them scabs. Um, it wasn't meant to be disrespectful, although it was to antagonize them to come join because the cause was worthy. It was to get better working conditions in the fields, to just have simple things, to have clean water, not just out of one bucket that never got cleaned and sanitized, and a tin cup to drink out of. Everyone shared a tin cup. And then to get restrooms, because prior to the union, they just squatted in the fields, you know, and then poor women got taken advantage of. And it honestly, from what I hear, is sometimes it still happens. Some of the women get taken advantage of as well today, but they have a lot more better working conditions. And without the union, they I don't know where the field workers would be. And I'm proud of my grandfather for stepping up and doing this, and it showed me the strength that people can have just to get basic necessities. You know, we don't have to give up. We have a voice. We have a voice that will be heard as long as we gather together as one. You know, we can make a difference. And I'm going to show you some of the items that he left me. And I mean, I have several of the same items. So, like, if you guys, I know some of these are pretty rare and hard to come by nowadays, because they got lost, damaged, you know. Um, I'm up for trade because I do have a lot of duplicates. I'm not giving it all up, because I need to keep pieces of my grandfather. But I'm going to show you guys some of the items of the Union, which is pretty cool. I like it. I hope you guys don't mind the little change up. But these guys just strived for better work conditions, you know. And as we go across some of these items, I'll explain certain things, you know. So I'm going to flip you guys around now. And here we go. Right here, I have my grandfather's dog tags from the Army. And I also have my aunt's dog tags who served in the Army as well. This is one of his medals. It's got rifle and grenade. And then his U.S. pins. And then I believe those are jump wings. I believe. Don't quote me on that. And then we have one of the guest of honor pendants from, because they still have meetings. Me and my wife attended the 50th anniversary meeting, and we both got one of the pins. And this is when the Union started out in 1962, and the 50th anniversary was in 2012. Me and my wife attended there. Here's Cesar Chavez on a metal pin that is in the design of a stamp. And then here's boycotting lettuce, no grapes, Gore, fast for life. For those of you who know about Cesar Chavez, he fasted in order to bring his people together to stop fighting amongst each other. Because like every group of people, you have your own opinions and mindset. So the fasting began to bring his people together and stop fighting, and also stop trying to fight violence with violence, because these guys, as they were creating the Union and gathering and trying to make these better work conditions and get the growers to agree upon certain necessities, the farm owners, the growers, they would shoot at the I guess you would call them protesters. They would shoot at them, chase them off, try to run them over in vehicles. The police department at that time here in Delano was on the growers' sides as well, so they would come and arrest the guys, pepper spray them, and beat them with their nightsticks. Some of the horror stories that my grandfather told me that occurred prior to him taking me on marches with him, because I went and marched with him and I met Cesar Chavez. Here you see on this pin is Cesar Chavez with Kennedy. Kennedy was a part of the group. He appreciated it, and he just, my grandfather would tell me, these horror stories of just all this animosity, animosity that was against them, and the trials and tribulations that they had to go through just to try to get somewhere, just to try to get their basic needs. And the Union, when they started to gain their contracts, it started out about grapes. And the Filipinos, let's see, where's one at? Trying to read all these pins really quickly is a little bit difficult. Oh, okay, on the bag. Okay, they even received items like this bag is from 2000. It's a nice little handy bag, with the straps and everything, and then their logo. But if you see right here, it's the AFL and CIO. It's the American Farmers something, and then there's something for the Filipino, because there was two groups. There was, you had your migrant workers, which were Hispanic, and then you had migrant Filipino workers. And they had to get the two groups together in order to make things happen. There's Martin Luther King. He appreciated the Union. Let's see, where's another cool one? There's so many cool pins, and some of these are very antique. I don't know how to age all of them, especially without the dates. Like this one, as you see, where is it at? This one's from 1979. Oh, here's a nice old one. This one's 1964. I know this is an old one as well. But yeah, I don't know how to date pins without the dates being on there. But the Union created their own pins, so you could wear. There's another Martin Luther King. Oh, there's Jesse Jackson as well, I met Jesse Jackson when I was a kid, as well as Cesar Chavez. But yeah, here, this pin is really cool. This is when they marched from Delano to Sacramento. That's a long way, and they left Delano with nothing, just the clothes on their back. And people were nice enough to let them into their homes and feed them and let them, rest and everything along this march. But yeah, these people marched all that way to get to California's capital just to try to get better, try to get the governor's attention, to get him on their side. But they always had items which were really cool, like these buttons, and that bag right there, and then this belt, my grandfather's belt. He's got his buckle, the Union buckle, and even the belt. I just waxed it yesterday. I don't know if you can make it out, but even the belt has the farm worker logo on it. There you go, kinda. There it is. There's the eagle on it, and then it's got, I believe those are grapevines. I'm not too sure. And then the Radio Campesina was the radio station that they used to use not only for music to boost morale, but they would also send out messages through that radio station because they literally, at the beginning, they had to use code. You know, they had to use code for everybody. Here's a nice keychain. See if I can get you a view of that one. There you go. The radio station's logo keychain, and it's a bottle opener. Here's a newer keychain. You know, they'd have keychains, they'd have ink pens with the logo on there. But another cool thing was over here. This is their constitution. They created their own constitution and bylaws on, you know, how to not only treat each other, but how to approach situations. And then it also had laws in there that would help them out, you know, if being arrested. So they would study the bylaws on their constitution. So that was pretty cool. I have this one in English and I have a Spanish version. My grandfather kept so much stuff. Here's a translucent window decal. You know, once you stick it on, it's just the logo. And their thing was huelga, which means strike. And I don't, there you go. Yeah, you could see that. This one's from 1971. I have several of these my grandfather kept. I've been kind of thinking about sticking one to my truck window, you know, but I'm not too sure on that. I want to keep one in good condition. Here's their logo with the radio station that they utilized. That's a sticker. This is my grandfather's union identification card. This one's from 1977. They actually had, because Cesar Chavez started a, like a union bank within the group. So, because field workers didn't make a lot of money, so they could come borrow from the bank, you know, and pay it back, like a payday loan kind of deal. And then another cool thing was this guy is a comic book. And because a lot of the Filipinos and even the Hispanic workers, they weren't educated. So they created comic books in order for these guys to be able to communicate different things, you know, on how to help your family, what to look out for, also what the next march was going to be, you know. So this is really cool. It's a union comic book. I thought that was really cool, but that's how they communicated. And then that way also, because one, it was in Spanish and it's a comic book and depicting the pictures, because, you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and they actually believed that, you know, they truly relied on that. That some of the farm owners wouldn't catch all the stuff in case they caught you with, what did they call it? It was like, you know how in a prison, if you're contraband, if you were caught with contraband, you know, you could get in trouble. But at least this contraband, that farm owner didn't know exactly what was going on, you know, because one, they couldn't read Spanish, and two, the words didn't always tell the full story. You had to read between the lines and deconstruct the photo, which was really cool. And then this one is, I can't recall what this one was for. It was the 40th anniversary portion, and they see, this is the president currently, or at that moment in the 40th, that was the president. And you could go down and see the names of the workers and stuff that they had, and this was honoring different members, you know. So I don't know, they did a lot of great things. I love the hell out of my grandfather. I feel like he was such a great man, and I'm honored to have him as a grandfather, because he fought for something worth doing. To me, I feel like a lot of us, at the end of the day, we work and do what's needed, but I feel like a lot of us end up with regrets because we feel like we didn't make a difference. And I don't know if my grandfather felt like that at the end. I don't know if he did or not. But in my eyes, I feel like he didn't let anyone down. He fought for something awesome, magnificent, and to me, that makes him a hero. He put in so many years into the Union. He took me on marches and taught me how to chant. You would yell, "Viva la causa! Viva la huelga! Viva la unión!" And you would just chant, and then you would try to, because they also had little pamphlets and leaflets to hand out. Like, I remember boycotting Safeway. Actually, that's the biggest memory that I have, walking around holding their flag, because they would walk around marching. Like, if it was at a grocery store, they'd march in a circle, a huge circle, depending on how many marchers there were that day. And they would carry flags with their emblem, or it was a big old circle wooden cutout that had their emblem. And then they would chant and hand out leaflets and pamphlets on what's being boycotted in that certain store, and the reasonings behind it. And I know back then it was kind of hard. Like, people don't want to be distracted with that. They want to just go grocery shopping. But it was to stop something that was inhumane, something that was poisonous as well, because the pesticides being used and everything. So I feel like they did something awesome. They made great changes. I know everybody. I respect Cesar Chavez. I truly do, being that he started it all. But it was the people who joined, the people who had the courage and the strength, not just physical strength, but mental strength, to endure the abuse, endure the criticism, endure the dirty looks. Those people, the unnamed people, even in our history books, because I know Cesar Chavez made the history book, and it's not highly spoke on. I feel like this is one event in our lives that should be spoke on a lot more. you know, and taught to our children. It's a legacy, you know, and that's what hurts me with our country today is all the monuments and statues that are being torn down. I know people will sit there and say, well, that man was a prejudice, he had slaves or whatnot. Yeah, that might have made him a part of a bad, it may have made him a bad person in that manner, but what made history from that person wasn't always bad. You know what I mean? That wasn't the negative part. Him owning slaves or whatever it was, you know, bootleg alcohol, you know, that was one part of him or her. The other part that made that monument or statue or photo or history book making situation was a different part of that person. And I feel like everything that has made history, especially our history, we need to keep it intact. We do. We need to keep it intact. And like, I love and honor Cesar Chavez, but he wasn't the only reason that huelga existed, you know? It was the people who had to endure as much as he did, if not more, you know? And I feel like they need to be recognized as well, you know? And that's another reason why I'm making this video, is because I want anyone who has family members who were in the Union to turn to that member and thank them. Thank them for me, you know? They helped create history, especially here in Delano. Not only did this union put Delano on the map and let us be known, but they showed everyone that you have a voice. They showed everyone that when your work conditions are poor, you can get what you need. But it's not just one person. We have to stand as a whole. That includes our country. If our country's going down the crapper, one voice is not going to fix it. We have to stand as one. We have to come together and do it. We have to let our voices be heard as a whole, not just one. And to me, that's what this group did. They let us know that one voice will not be heard. One voice will get lost in the crowd, but the many will make that fist and it will punch a hole in history. So, to all the union workers and union creators, viva la huelga, viva la causa, viva la unión. You keep that with you. I love you. And I will be back with the second portion of the video, where I am going to bring in the knife that I purchased for my grandfather. It's the closest version that I can remember to the one that he carried the most. And I'm having a custom slip done by Aaron Williams at A&W Custom Designs. Once I get that slip paid for and receive it, I'm going to present the second part of the video in honoring my grandfather. I'm going to build a picture box or a shadow box, whatever you call it, and I'm going to put a portion of these pins into that shadow box with Mr. Aaron Williams leather slip the knife and his dog tags and a photo of my grandfather to honor him. I want to say I love you guys. I want to say as long as we stand together like this knife brotherhood is, this knife brotherhood is strong. We're all united. As long as we stay united, we can accomplish anything. I love you, great people. Thank you for watching. Peace.